The New York Jets season, which began with high hopes and championship aspirations, has spiraled into another chapter of despair. Following their latest 26-21 loss to the Seattle Seahawks, the spotlight now falls squarely on Aaron Rodgers, the legendary quarterback who was brought in to transform the franchise but has instead become emblematic of its struggles. Sunday's game seemed to encapsulate the Jets' 2024 season in one moment. With the team leading and looking to put the game out of reach, Rodgers had Garrett Wilson wide open in the end zone, a routine throw for a quarterback who has built a Hall of Fame career on precision. Instead, the ball sailed over Wilson's head. On the very next play, Rodgers threw a pick six to Seahawks defensive lineman Leonard Williams. What could have been a commanding lead turned into a momentum-shifting disaster. The Jets never scored again, failing even to return to the red zone. It kind of changed the momentum of the game, Rodgers admitted after the game, though the understatement did little to console fans or teammates. The 2024 Jets were supposed to be different. After acquiring Rodgers, a four-time MVP, the team seemed poised for a deep playoff run. The offensive line was bolstered, the defense was intact and elite, and the roster featured playmakers like Wilson and Davante Adams. Yet as the calendar flips to December, the Jets find themselves 3-9, all but mathematically eliminated from playoff contention. This marks the 14th straight year without a postseason appearance, the longest active drought among the four major U.S. sports leagues, and the 9th consecutive losing season. The team's failure isn't solely on Rodgers, but his performance this season has been a glaring issue. Against Seattle, Rodgers completed just 21 of 39 passes, 53.8%, for 185 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. It was the 5th game this season where he failed to surpass 200 passing yards, and he has yet to eclipse 300 yards in a single contest. His 8 interceptions are already tied for the second highest total of his career since 2010, a stark contrast to the precision that defined his tenure in Green Bay. At 41, Rodgers has dealt with a litany of injuries, including issues with his knee, hamstring, and ankle. However, he was reportedly healthy heading into the Seahawks game, making his poor performance all the more concerning. His inability to execute in high-pressure situations has also become a trend. The Jets are 0-5 in games where he had the opportunity to lead a game-winning drive this season. "Well, there are 11 guys on the field," Rodgers said post-game, deflecting blame while acknowledging his share of responsibility. "Sometimes it's my fault. Definitely multiple times today. And then the details aren't there in some other spots, too." Frustration within the organization is palpable. After a loss to the Denver Broncos earlier this season, a team meeting reportedly raised the idea of benching Rodgers in favor of backup Tyrod Taylor. While the coaching staff ultimately decided against it, the topic has resurfaced. Interim head coach Jeff Ulbrich, previously adamant that Rodgers would remain the starter, struck a more cautious tone on Sunday, saying, "Not as of today," when asked about a potential quarterback change. Rodgers himself sounded uncertain about his future as the team's starter, stating, "I don't know. We'll figure that out when we have those conversations." While Taylor might provide a temporary spark, he is not a long-term solution for the Jets. More importantly, Rodgers is no longer seen as the future of the franchise. Reports indicate the Jets are planning a sweeping overhaul, with a new general manager, head coach, and quarterback likely in 2025. While Rodgers has expressed a desire to return, the organization is reportedly skeptical of his ability to lead them to the success they envisioned. The decision to move on from Rodgers appears inevitable, with the only question being whether it happens now or in the offseason. Sunday's loss may have been the tipping point, not just for the 2024 Jets, but for Rodgers' brief tenure in New York. For Jets fans, this season is another entry in a long history of dashed hopes. The team's playoff drought continues, and their inability to find stability at quarterback, despite acquiring a player of Rodgers' caliber, has become a recurring theme. The 2024 season began with the promise of glory but is ending in familiar frustration. If Rodgers' tenure does end soon, it will be a stark reminder that even the greatest players cannot always overcome systemic dysfunction. For the Jets, the search for answers, and a savior, continues.